All right, listen up. This is a Code Ninja security advisory. We are currently tracking a live threat and you need to be aware of it. The designation is CVE-2025-61614.
So, let's get right into it. We're looking at a pretty serious flaw here, specifically in the Unisoc RN modem component. Now, if you're not familiar, that RN modem, that's the little piece of hardware inside a whole lot of mobile chipsets. It's the brains behind your 5G connection.
Okay, so here's the bottom line, and I want you to really hear this. This vulnerability, CVE-2025-61614, lets an attacker from anywhere in the world crash your device, just completely. We're talking a full denial of service. Your modem goes down, all connectivity is lost. And the scariest part? You don't have to do a thing. It requires absolutely zero user interaction. No clicks, no downloads, nothing.
So why are we putting this out there? Well, our objective here is twofold. First and most importantly is to get this intelligence out to you, the defenders, and the end users, so you can be aware of the risk. But second, it's about applying pressure. Frankly, this public disclosure is meant to force the vendor's hand and get a fix out fast.
Okay, before we dive into the technical nitty-gritty, we need to do a quick but really important comms check. Just think of this as part of our standard security protocol.
All right, first directive. You need to be subscribed to this channel at Cybertech79, and I mean with notifications enabled. This isn't just about watching videos. This is your pipeline for real-time threat intelligence the moment it drops.
Second directive, I need you to hit that like button. This serves as your formal acknowledgement, your ACK, that you've received this intelligence transmission. Let us know you've got the message.
And your third and final directive for this comms check. Report your status down in the comments. A simple patched or vulnerable will do. Why? Because we're basically conducting a census here to get a sense of the blast radius of this thing out in the wild. Your intel is incredibly valuable to us.
Okay, comms check complete. Communication link established. Now, let's get into the technical teardown. It's time to dig into the nuts and bolts of how this vulnerability actually works.
All right, let's talk numbers. The CVSS 3.1 base score for this one is a 7.5. That's officially rated as high severity. Now, 7.5 might not sound like a perfect 10, but in our world, that is a very serious number, and I'm about to show you exactly why.
So this table here, this breaks down exactly why that 7.5 is so dangerous. Let's walk through it. Attack vector, network. That means an attacker can hit you remotely, right over the air. Attack complexity, low. This doesn't take a genius to pull off. But here, look at these two. Privileges required, none. User interaction, none. The attacker needs zero access to your device, and you, the user, don't have to click, tap, or do anything at all. Then you have availability, high, meaning total loss of service. You put all that together, it's just the perfect storm for a denial of service attack.
So what's the root cause of all this? Well, it's a classic. One of the oldest tricks in the book, CVE-20, or improper input validation. The best way to think about it is like this. The modem's firmware isn't checking its mail properly. It's just accepting any package that comes to the door. So an attacker can craft this, let's call it a booby-trapped data packet, send it over, and the modem just doesn't know what to do with it. So it panics, and the whole system crashes.
Okay, so now you know how it works. The next logical question is who's at risk? Let's define the blast radius and see exactly which systems are in the line of fire.
And unfortunately, the attack surface here is, well, it's pretty widespread. On the hardware front, we're talking about a whole family of Unisoc processors. The T7300, the 8100 series, T8200, T8300, and the T9100. But this is the part that's really concerning. The vulnerability impacts Android 13, 14, 15, and even the upcoming Android 16. That is a massive window of exposure across millions of devices.
In this business, transparency is everything. That's why we practice coordinated disclosure. This timeline you're about to see tracks the entire life of this vulnerability, from the very first whisper all the way to its public assignment. It's how we hold everyone accountable.
So, let's walk through it. It all kicks off around the end of February 2026 with some initial tracking tied to the Android Security Bulletin. On March 8th, the researchers over at Positive Technologies get it indexed. But then, look at March 9th. Things just explode. In the morning, Unisoc, acting as the CNA, officially publishes the CVE record. By that afternoon, the NVD has already analyzed it and mapped out the affected configs. And before the day is even over, CISA's ADP team formally links it to that CVE-20 weakness. You know, This is actually a pretty solid example of how fast the industry can move when it works together.
Okay, let's move on to the final and honestly, the most critical part of this entire briefing. Your orders. What you need to do right now for mitigation. So, this is the question on everyone's mind, right? What is the mitigation protocol? How in the world do you defend against something like this?
And I'm just going to be blunt here. Here's the reality. The status is there is no vendor patch available. I'm going to say that again so it sinks in. As of the time of this advisory, there's no official fix for this vulnerability.
Now, this is exactly why we're doing this. This is why we have this disclosure model. Users, you, have a right to know when you're vulnerable so you can take steps to protect yourselves. This advisory isn't just for you, it's a direct signal flare to the vendor. It's a call to action to get a patch developed and pushed out immediately.
So with no patch, what are your standing orders? It's a three-step process. Step 1, you have to maintain heightened vigilance. Be aware. Step 2, actively monitor any devices you know are affected. Look for unexplained modem crashes, random reboots, or sudden network drop-offs. And Step 3, wait. Await an official over-the-air firmware patch from Unisoc and your device manufacturer. Right now, that is our only path to full remediation.
That concludes this security advisory. Keep monitoring this channel for any and all updates. Stay secure.